to change. The Tories never did have the best vision for Britain. They just took the best words. Freedom, choice, opportunity, aspiration, ambition. I can vividly recall to you the exact moment that I knew the last election was lost. I was canvassing in the Midlands on an ordinary suburban estate. I met a man polishing his Ford Sierra, self-employed electrician. Dad always voted Labour. He used to vote Labour, he said. But he bought his own home, he'd set up his own business, he was doing quite nicely. So he said, I've become a Tory. He wasn't rich, but he was doing better than he did. And as far as he was concerned, being better off meant being Tory too. And in that moment, the basis of our failure, the reason why a whole generation has grown up under the Tories, became plain to me. You see, people judge us on their instincts about what they believe our instincts to be. And that man polishing his car was clear. His instincts were to get on in life, and he thought our instincts were to stop him. But that was never our history or our purpose. I know in my own constituency, the miners in 1945 who voted Labour, they did so that their sons would not have to go down the pit and work in the conditions that they had. And in 1964, their children voted Labour because they saw the next generation's chance to go to university and do better than their parents had done. The true radical mission of the Labour Party, new and old, is this: not to hold people back, but to help them get on. All the people. And isn't that the essence of what we believe? Each generation doing better than the last. The heritage of hope, passed from parents to their children. Now, for the first time, in this generation, at risk under this Conservative government. Our task is to restore that hope, to build a new age of achievement in a new and different world. Today, we compete in the era of global markets. And I say this to our Conservative opponents. There is no future for Britain as a low-wage, low-skill, low-technology economy. We'll compete on the basis of quality or not at all. This means a stable economy, long-term investment, the enterprise of our people set free. And first, let us get the fundamentals right. Look at the Tories, 2 recessions, one which wiped out a third of our manufacturing base, borrowed their way into the record books, the pound devalued, North Sea oil money, gone, all the money from asset sales, gone. It's sometimes said, you know, that the Tories are cruel, but they're efficient. In fact, they are the most feckless, irresponsible, incompetent managers of the British economy in this country's history. Labour will be the party of sound finance and good housekeeping. World interest rates and inflation rates are low. In Britain, we will keep them this way. There will be defined targets set and kept to. Losing control of public finance isn't radical, it's just reckless, and we will not do it. Gordon Brown, the Iron Chancellor. It could be a tough job, and he does it brilliantly. You know, they say it's easier to get past security at our conference without a pass than to get a spending commitment past Gordon. And in case anyone's any doubt, that's how it's going to stay. We need a tax regime too, though, that is fair and encourages work and business. Sure, the few at the top have become wealthy under the Tories, but they have put up the taxes of ordinary families in Britain by the largest amount in peacetime history. We are not going to add to their burden. Those families have suffered enough. Instead, a new Labour government should be trying to get tax down for the lowest income earners, some of them paying 80–90% marginal tax rates. If incentives through lower tax rates is the key for the director on £200,000 a year, then why shouldn't it work for the people on £5,000 or £10,000 a year? And next, in this new world, many more people will be self-employed or in small businesses, and we are going to help them. The Federation of Small Businesses have just welcomed our programme as the basis of a real partnership between a Labour government and small businesses. So move over again, the Tories. Labour is the party of small businesses in Britain today. And we'll give Britain the modern integrated transport network built in partnership between public and private finance, and restoring a unified system of railways with a publicly owned, publicly accountable British Rail at its core. Good for Britain and good for business. Leading Britain into an age of achievement means Britain leading in Europe. And for business and for Britain, we will build that new constructive relationship with our European partners. Let me make one thing plain. I will not scrap Britain's veto in Europe. Our options on a single currency should remain open to be determined according to our national interest. Any change will only come with the full consent of the people. But make no mistake, leave Europe or retreat to its sidelines as these Tories want to do, and this country will lose its influence and its inward investment. It would be a disaster for jobs and for industry. The Tories may glory in perpetual isolation, but I say that's not standing up for Britain. That is a betrayal of British interests. And with a good relationship in Europe, we can get more out of it. Britain has the presidency of the European Union in the first half of 1998. One of our key priorities in that presidency will be the completion of the single market. Well, today, even in opposition, I set a deadline. June 1998, the end of the British presidency for the completion of the single market in Europe. And I will begin discussion with other European leaders now so that we can get ready to meet that deadline. New opportunities for our firms and new jobs for our people. Our aim is that by the end of the first term of a new Labour government, in gas and electricity, in telecommunications, in public procurement, in financial services, we will have a genuine single market in Europe open to British goods and services. That is the way to get the best out of Europe for Britain. Achievement in our industry too. Support for manufacturing as well as for services. Support for research and development, for science and engineering. And a new era of industrial relations in Britain. There will be fairness, not favours, for employers and employees alike. The Labour government today is not the political arm of anyone other than the British people. But let us settle these arguments about industrial laws once and for good. There will be no return to the 70s, but there should and there will be basic civil rights for all at work legislated on early in a Labour government. They're merely the due claim of civilization, a statutory minimum wage, Like every other industrial country the world over, we will have one under a Labour government in Britain. We will be part of the European social chapter, as every other government, Tory or Labour, is in the rest of Europe. And there will be a right for any individual to join a trade union. And if